Just to put it in perspective for the viewers, Jace, what you've turned over in 1 year would have took you over 10 years in your former role in the British Army. Did you ever think you'd be in that position?
No, never.
Jace, welcome to the podcast, dude. How you doing, man?
Yeah, all good. Thanks for having me.
No worries.
It's our pleasure, bro. I think to start a podcast, it'd be interesting to start your journey. And how and why did you join the army? I mean, you were quite young, weren't you?
Yeah, so originally I joined at 17. I buggered up my ankle in training, got out. 3 years later, I re-enlisted, got straight back into it. But I suppose overall on why I joined, it was all my family were all officers. They were all been in, their whole 20 odd years in the army.
So from a military background.
Yeah, so I kind of went in it from there, really, from family. I never got pushed into joining. It was just, I was always playing toy soldiers. I was always, that kind of little boy running around with pretend guns and that. So
Big fan of action, man.
Yeah, so I just joined, I suppose. Yeah.
You were more Ken, weren't you? An action man.
Yeah, I was more. No, I wasn't Ken. Anyway, this is about Jason, mate, not about your stupid,
What role did you go in as, Jace?
So I was in the Royal Welsh. So that is infantry, but it's an armoured battalion. So you've got an armoured vehicle where essentially troops would be in the back. You drive up on a position, troops would get out, attack that position, and get back in, and then on to the next objective, essentially. Yeah.
Did it change you a lot as a man? I mean, I guess you went in at 17, and then you came back in at 20 after you'd gone through the injury and stuff. And I believe you served 10 years.
Yeah, just over. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, how did that change? I mean, you it was in your 20s basically, so everyone's growing up at that age. But how did it change you as a man?
Probably just giving me a bit of responsibility. You've got to pay. You've got your wages at the end of the month. You've got phone bill. You've got this, so it's giving you a little bit of responsibility. Me even having a family. I got to think well, I've got paid. I need to support my family instead of going out on the weekend getting pissed until Monday morning. So it kind of made me grow up as well. Being in the army is just it's big boy rules. It's it's not a kid's thing to do. Do you know what I mean? It's a big thing.
Was that challenging then, trying to balance your family life with being away in the army?
Yeah, because last minute thing, you could get called and go, oh, you're going out the door tomorrow. It's I've got a meal booked, or I've got a christening I've booked, or whatever it may be. Obviously the job comes first. I think not last year, the year before, it was Christmas Eve. I got a phone call.
Yeah.
You need to be on the square in 6 hours or something, and we had to go down to Dover to do all the testing for COVID. That was shocking, literally. But it is what it is. It's the job.
It's part and parcel of the job, isn't it? And I think it's completely separate to sort of any role really in civilian life outside maybe public services, which every day is going to be potentially could be an enormous challenge, and things you're expected to do things that you just wouldn't in a normal job.
Yeah.
But I can imagine that specifically balancing family life alongside being a soldier. I mean, how taxing was that on your family, your kids and your partner?
I think they just understood it. They know what comes with the job. I suppose you just deal with it. I suppose it's not very nice.
Yeah,
because if that was the other way around for my wife. It's Christmas. I don't want to see you walk out the door in a couple of hours. Bloody Christmas or whatever. But it is what it is. The job come first. So,
whilst you were in the army, were you always conscious of did you always have an exit plan? Or was it always like, I could be doing this for 20, 30 years, or I want to be in for 10 years? Did you always have a set idea in your head of when you were going to leave?
No. I always thought I'd just be in it for like 20 odd years. Because it was like, I joined so early. It was like the only thing I knew what to do essentially. So it was, I always thought I'd be in it for like 20 odd years. I never thought I'd get out at the stage that I got out. I got out, just before my half pension. So I've left without even a pension or a half pension, So
how did that come about then? If you leaving, was that something you wanted to do?
Well, I don't want to go too far into it, but
okay,
I had like a lot of altercations with the head shed that I was working under. They didn't put me in a good place. I was literally not liking my job at all. I was 30 years old. I didn't need to put up with that crap. So literally, I signed off and I got out.
Did you have any plans of what you're going to do now, post leaving the army?
Well, I already had the business, so it was kind of, I literally just walked straight into that.
Which we'll jump into, but I suppose it's interesting to dig a little deeper into, that transition. So you say you were going through a difficult time in the army. You were, there was like an individual who's a superior who were treating you, was treating you badly.
Yeah, it was. So that, as I said, I don't want to go too far into it, but I put, I spoke out about it. Or should I say, I spoke to a friend about it. He obviously went to the relevant person and spoke out about it.
Okay.
Because, my head was all over the place. That all came out, and then they all jumped on the bandwagon and then it was all, I was having it from all angles. I didn't need to put up with that crap. Literally.
So was that the point you knew sort of, I need to get out of this?
Yeah, it was, if I stayed, because I asked to move companies.
Right.
And if I moved companies, I'd still probably be in now. But they were like, "Nah, you're staying." And I was like, "Well, I've just put all these problems that just occurred, and you're making me stay in a company where I'm having it from all angles." And he said no. So
it was a bit of a toxic environment for you at that stage.
Yeah.
So what I'm hugely interested in, man, and I think the viewer should be hugely interested in.
Yeah.
Because what you've done post leaving the army, from my perspective, is nothing short of incredible, man. And I know that journey started whilst you were in the army. So I think it'd be interesting to dig. How did that begin? So Kitpest is your company.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How did Kitpest begin whilst you were in the army? What is Kitpest?
So Kitpest is, I sell high-end military and outdoor kit and equipment. So it's the first company within the UK to offer a buy-sell trade service. So simply, you can come in and buy it, come in and sell it, or you come in and trade it. So, I don't use all this anymore, but I see that on your shelf, I want that. And obviously, if it works for me, I will trade that for that. And it works wonders because, I'm happy, the customer's happy. Mm-hmm. Or, you're leaving the army, sell me all your top end, kit and that. People do come to me and go, I've got a compass to sell, would you buy it? And it's like, what's the fucking point?
Get it on eBay.
Yeah, get it on eBay. Mm. So I only go for like the high end, like the proper high end kit. So it literally works because not everyone wants brand new kit. If you got a Sergeant Major running around with a brand new day sack on, a brand new set of webbing on, he's going to look like a right crow. He's going to look like a proper lizard. But he's going to want something that's used, but still in good functional order. I will cater for that. So not everything secondhand, say 50-50. It's new, or I can have something new or used, same product.
Yeah.
And obviously the price is different. And yeah.
So are you selling sort of primarily to military personnel then, or Is that your main market?
Military.
Yeah.
Military. Airsofters is a massive market for them. People, it's not just military stuff where it's, this color. It can be different colors. It can be different colored jackets. It can be, I've had people that have called me and gone, I'm not in the military, but I want a jacket for the weekend when I walk my dog. Have you got anything? I don't want to spend a fortune. I'm like, I've got this, and that. Oh, how much is that one? Yeah, I want that. Bosh, they'll buy it. So I try and cater for all walks of life. I had a guy a few weeks ago. He's got a little team that does fishing on the weekends, and he was like, I don't want any like MTP or multicam trousers. I want some like olive grey or whatever. And I said, yeah, I got a few Gore-Tex pants for you in that colour. And he bought all 5 off me for his team. And it was like, well, he hasn't been in the military or whatever, but he does fishing on the weekend. So, I cater for, or try and cater for everyone.
Yeah, and I guess that's quite a big market as well. Like the people that do the sort of outdoor stuff, I'd imagine like hikers, like you said, fishermen, and anything around that sort of realm.
You've only got to go on Instagram, man, and that sort of thing is huge, man. The market, like you look at hashtags and all sorts, it's a huge market, man. So, your world is your oyster in that regard. So, I guess we kind of get what Kitpest is, but give me the origin, man. Where did it start? How did it start? Because it's a good story.
It is a great story.
For anyone that knows me from my previous job, so I was always that, that wheeling and dealing person. I always knew how to have a £1 in my hand and change it into £2. Always had the knowledge to do that. It was very, very easy. So it started.
Can you teach him?
So it started from like I was doing like tuck shops and stuff. Every time we went away somewhere, I'd do like a little tuck shop, and when everyone's hanging out like lying in their pits and that, they don't want to walk down the shop and get all their like supplies for lying in their beds at night. And I used to do that. I would go down that shop and I would pick up everything I could to fit in my bag, and I'd take it back and I'd set up a tuck shop. Like it was Estonia. I was selling noodles. Like I'd cook your noodles for you in pots I had, and I would deliver it to your room. And then other people were asking.
So you're selling to your colleagues.
Yeah.
Did you have a good hygiene rating?
Do you know, my padre at the time asked me about that, and I was like, oh no, I don't know. But
yeah, joking, man. Carry on. Sorry, bro.
I was even doing toasties at one point as well. Toasties, chocolate, crisps, and then I really stepped it up because everyone was like gymming it as well. So I was buying stuff like protein bars and having it shipped from the UK over to me, and I was catering for those people. They're like, I'm hitting the gym at the minute. I really want a toasty, but I want something else. I'm like, oh, that's good. I got a protein bar for you. You're like, oh, okay, I'll buy 3, and it worked. It was stuff like that. When I couldn't do a tuck shop, when we were going exercise and stuff, I was like, how can I, make another $1 essentially? So I thought, right, I went on Amazon. I bought loads of portable chargers, and I would charge them up. And I'd go out and exercise. I know him and him have got kids, so I used to go up to him and go, you got kids, didn't you? Yeah. Well, we're out here for a couple of weeks. How are you going to charge your phone? You want to speak to your kids and wife? Oh, I didn't bring one. You can't charge your phone out here. Nah, good idea. I've got these, mate. Oh, mate, how many times do they charge your phone? Oh, they're like 4 times. Oh, I'll buy 3 off you. Bosh. Do you know what I mean? You'd only stick like £5-10 on each item, but if everyone was doing that, so I was doing that. At one point I went to Germany. I wasn't allowed to do a tuck shop because at the time,
they fucking got onto you.
The sergeant major was fed up of me making more money than him. Absolute job's worth.
This motherfucker's making.
He's making more than the boss. They're not having that, are they?
So I thought, what else can I do? So I was buying blow up pillows.
I'm glad you said pillows, man. Carry on, dude.
Buying pillows, and I thought, right, what else can I buy? And I went on.
Nothing else blow up.
No. Amazon.
You've got a few blow up things.
Chargers. I was buying 3 meter chargers because there was only like 1 or 2 plug sockets in the rooms in Germany, and everyone was like in their beds, bunk beds and whatnot, and the plug was like all the way over there, and people want to sit in their bed charging
on their phone. Yeah.
So I catered for that as well. So I bought those. So obviously years going on, I'm just saving all this money. Literally, I was doing guards on the weekends. I was, getting paid like 50 up to 150 for a guard, depending on what was going on. I was saving that. I was picking up second-hand sofas around the local area and selling them to the boys for their rooms.
So were you making more money than your like salary, the wage, like on a month to month sort of thing?
I'd probably say about $1,000, not more than my wage, but I was certainly making a lot of money.
Still a decent amount, yeah.
At
especially
one point,
for something you're doing part time.
Yeah, it was just crazy. I was I started having people coming up to me going, "Hey Jay, have you got any kettles for sale?" I'm like, "Fuck me, they're like £9 down the road, mate, in Tesco. Fuck me."
Fucking nice tin into curries, like.
Yeah, and then I had like sergeants like coming to me going, "Oh, I'm after a phone for my daughter. I'm after I'm after an iPad. I'm after this." And like, I'm thinking, "Fuck me, I'm like, I'll start buying some iPads and that." But no, I never done anything like that.
Did it ever get weird?
No.
Some of the stuff they were asking for.
No.
You went there asking for your. If
he was on tour, Jesus.
Yeah, there would have been some weird requests. But no,
that's how I like started making the extra money a month, and it kind of like I didn't really have an end goal of where I was like, well, I want to save up $5,000 to do this or do that. It was never like that. It was just, I suppose, I liked making money, I suppose.
Sales. You clearly sales come naturally to you.
Yeah, suppose so. Like, I'll just show you a little scenario where I done in Estonia with the tuck shop. Someone would come in and go, I want a toasty. I'm like, oh, okay. Might as well buy 2 though, because when you take that back to your room, you're going to eat that toasty and go, probably wanted another one. So you might as well have another one. And then when you've eaten those 2, give it an hour or so, you're going to be a little bit peckish. So for that, you need a pack of crisps or something, maybe a chocolate bar. And then after all that, your mouth's going to get slightly dry. So this is where you buy a can as well. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I'll buy that, and that.
Fuck me.
Bosh.
The officers in charge of the fitness must have been fuming with you.
Yeah.
You're turning all these soldiers obese.
Yeah, literally.
Reeks of diabetes.
So it was just an easy selling point. You chuck that at someone.
Yeah.
Because they ain't going to think like, well, in an hour I might be a little bit hungry. But you bash that out to them, they're like, oh, that makes point. And then that person, instead of spending €1, they've just spent €6 now. Of me just giving them a 10-second spill. Bosh.
I think it's a great story of just seeing that there's opportunity anywhere, because you've given 3 or 4 examples there, from the chargers to the tuck shop. Like, there's multiple different opportunities which you've taken, selling sofas to people. And I think a lot of people think making money is incredibly difficult, but you've shown in that instance there's always an opportunity. And like you think, things like eBay, all sorts of things like that.
It's certainly not hard to make money. It's really, really not. Like, I know I own Kitpest, but I've got another 2 companies I could easily set up, literally next to no capital. It's more about brains than capital. You don't need capital to set up a really good business. You just need to know. You need to know that business. You need to have the brains about it.
Yeah,
it's the same as Kitpest. If I never joined the army, I wouldn't have owned Kitpest, because throughout my career, I've been round the kit. I know what the kit is. Like, even though I am Kitpest, everyone assumes I know everything about kit. I don't. Because if I don't have, just for argument's sake, I've got a C2R chest rig here. I know the guys down in Hereford that run that, right? If I don't have that in, or I'm not constantly around it, or I've never seen it, why am I going to know about that? I'm not. You know, people assume I just know every brand, everything about kit. I don't.
Yeah.
It's pointless investing my time into a product that I know I'm never going to have, or I haven't had before. It's, you know.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting point. You've got specific knowledge, haven't you? You know the army, you know the culture, you know what soldiers are like. I mean, even before we started filming, you were using phrases that I'd not heard before, because I'm assuming they're used commonly in the army, but they're not used in civilian life. So having all that specific knowledge, knowing what the customer's going to want, is so important, man.
It's almost like Jace's forecasted in his head what people are going to want, because most people go out on tour and wouldn't think, I can make extra money here. They just go, oh, pick up my wage, right? But he's gone out on tour and thought, like the Charger example, I mean, that's a great one. Of course they're going to want something they can lie in bed with and be on their phone and be in comfort.
And it's
right?
a cheap purchase.
But how many people would have gone on tour and thought, this is an opportunity. We are at work, but there's also an opportunity to be at work whilst you're at work and make more money and almost double your money. Most people don't think like that.
Yeah, people are just lazy. I'm not gonna say like everyone's lazy. Maybe they just haven't thought about it. Like, people, you know, they're working all day or whatever it may be. They don't want to be like, oh, I've got to walk 2 miles to go down to a shop to pick up stock, and then walk it all the way back. I can't be asked to do that. You know, people.
Yeah.
You know, that's like another thing. Like, even though I was doing that tuck shop, right, I found out like a month prior to leaving that country, you take your bottles back down to the shop, they pay for those bottles back. What did I do?
Collected everyone's bottles.
Wow, mate, when you drank that bottle, chuck me it back, big dog. I was literally, I was only making like, you know, every time I went down to the shop, I think I was only making like 5 to 10 euros. But, you know, to walk a mile down and a mile back with, you know, a couple of carry bags of bottles, most people would be like, that's a bit weird, but that was making money. That was free, literally free money. You know, I'm getting my steps in as well, so it's keeping me fit.
Yeah, I get that. You're finding an opportunity within the opportunity. Like, the opportunity is you're out on tour, right? And then you're creating opportunities by, look at my environment, what do people need, what else is going on here, and how can I maximize this opportunity to come back home with more money than I should, really.
And like, it was when you start meeting people, then you start asking the right questions. Like those toasties, say, in Estonia, I was getting the ham, cheese, and bread for free. I was going to the cookhouse and I'd buy the girl a Ferrero Rocher. Like every couple of days, I'd buy a box of Ferrero Rocher, and she'd give me. Well, I would take the bread anyway because the cookhouse had tons of bread. So I was taking the bread, and she was giving me cheese and ham.
Yeah,
that was left over from the morning, and then I was making toasties out of it. So it was 100% free money. And I can remember, even the MT, which is all the vehicle department and that, I given him a week's worth of toasties for free if he would take me down like once or twice in the week to the shop instead of me walking. But then I could fill the car with more stock. So it was just like...
But that is the entrepreneur mindset, though, is to find something for free, well, that's going to cost little, and sell it for more. And most people just don't. So either they don't, like you said, I wouldn't say lazy, I just think they don't see the opportunity.
But it's because I think a lot of that comes down to mindset, though, because we are taught very much to be employees, aren't we? That's what school teaches us. So it teaches us like, well, money comes from giving your time, you know,
and being paid by someone superior to you.
So yeah, more often than not.
Yeah.
what I'm interested in, and obviously you've shown that doesn't need to be the case. What I'm interested in is, obviously within those 10 years in the infantry, you would have developed all sorts of skills.
Mm-hmm.
When you look back at that, what skills do you think that are transferable to being, an entrepreneur like you are today? I'm just thinking, if there is someone in the infantry now watching and thinking, when I do leave the army, what opportunities are there for me? Could I go and do something like what Jace has done? And I'm just interested in...
I suppose you just need to know a bit your business model that you're going into, because it's pointless, it's pointless trying to go into a company or start something that you don't know much about. Because funny enough, right, before I started Kitpest, I was going to start an inflatable company. Never touched an inflatable in my life. But I thought,
Yes.
Hold on, are we going back to the blow up things? This is getting... it was blow up pillows. It was blow up pillows to start off with. Now I'm getting a bit worried, Jace.
You would, off the off chance you'd be, I'd speak to a few people wherever I was going. Like, you start speaking to them on like how much they charge and how much they're on a day, and I'm like, wow, that is like a big money. But like, you're giving up your weekends, right?
So you mean like bouncy castles? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, so like rent them out. Go to like, say like a car boots or something.
Take your mind out of the gutter, man.
You.
No, I just want. You mean for parties? That's what I mean.
Well, parties. There's those inflatable pubs, those inflatable clubs that you put in the garden. I was thinking about all of that.
So everything, yeah.
Yeah. And then Kitpest come along, so I obviously, I stuck to that. Could I do that inflatable company now? Well, yeah, probably. I'll just chuck couple of grand into that business, but it's like my time is more on this. I can't be running around bloody blowing up inflatables. At the minute I'm extremely busy with this company, so maybe however long down the line I'm happy to leave this in someone else's hands when I'm out doing something else. Maybe pay someone else to run that company.
Yeah.
You own that company, you just give me a percentage each month or whatever. Gosh.
Did you ever believe you'd be able to make the money you are today?
No, never.
I think that's interesting, man, because
like, I'm not saying I'm a millionaire or anything.
No.
But I certainly, it's like, could I pay myself 5-10 grand a month? Yeah, probably, and that's not me bragging. That's like, could I pay myself that? Maybe not, right? But I don't need to pay myself stupid amounts monthly. It's like, what do I need money for? I pay myself wage, my family are took care of. I can now go on holiday twice a year. That's all I care about. Could I go out and buy a brand new car, like, for the business? Yeah, probably. But I don't need to do that. If I want to, but I don't need to. There's a difference there.
Your missus said no.
Basically, yeah.
Well, it's, to be honest, man.
Yeah.
To be honest, I think what you touched on is important, because you talk about saying, could I pay myself £5,000-10,000 a month? To some people, that ain't a lot of money. To me, that's a lot of money. I mean, it all comes down to personal perspective, but I think what most people want, or pretty much everybody wants, is just financial safety, and that means different things to everybody. But most people just want to know that I'm in a safe position financially, and I'm not in debt,
and not have to worry, man.
and not have to worry.
That was like a thing of leaving the army. If I didn't have the business, I'd be like, what do I do? It's a secure job. It's I don't really want to leave. But it's all about the security. If I didn't have Kitpest, I don't know. What would I do if I didn't have Kitpest? I'd probably be a driver. I like driving. I'd probably be like work for Amazon or a delivery company or something like that. Do your hours, go home, bosh.
Or you'd be blowing up inflatables.
Yeah, not your kind, man.
Yeah, not.
I don't have any inflatables.
That's for another episode. Would you ever like worried about starting up Kitpest? Because it's still a big risk, isn't it, to set up a business?
Well, I actually started Kitpest when I was still in the army.
Yeah.
So,
but were you worried about leaving the army and going, right, I'm going to go full time on this?
Yeah, losing the safety of your salary, losing the safety of a pension, losing all those things.
Well, as I said, with the pension, I left before that. I left before I even got the half pension. You know, my old job didn't even give me the thing of, nah, you should stay, we'll put you somewhere else so at least you get a half pension. Didn't even have the decency to do that, but that's a different episode.
It was probably because they had a word with a tuck shop, and the tuck shop were fucking going bankrupt because you were fucking stealing all their profits.
I think they did, actually.
Yeah, you killed the competition, man.
Yeah.
But so there was never really a point where you were like, fucking, I'm a bit worried about this. Like, I might, I'm losing all this safety, I'm going into an unknown world. I know you'd stepped into it briefly in terms of you'd started the business whilst in the army, but it is a big risk, man. And I know that's what puts most people off taking that step.
It was like, I think 4 to 5 months prior to me leaving, I was here. I literally got left alone. I wasn't on any courses, so I was getting paid from here and by the army. And they were saying like, oh, how can you get away with doing that and whatnot? But like prior to going, stupid things like going around down the shop, buying some lunch, buying a Red Bull, buying this or buying that. And I was thinking, once I leave, I'm going to have to, stop just buying those little things until I see where I'm at.
Mm.
As soon as I left, I was still doing the same crap as I was when I was still getting that extra wage. As long as I hit my targets, which since I've left the army is nearly a year now, as long as I hit my targets every month or every week, my kids are getting fed.
So what was there like a certain figure that you wanted to make before you thought, yeah, I'm going at this full time?
I never thought about I never thought of I want to make this. It was more, these are my bills. That costs that much, whatever. So, right, I need to make that much. And I literally stuck to that much. And obviously I pay myself extra for myself. Whatever.
I suppose you've got the mindset of a family man, and like me and Mike, we don't have kids. And
I don't need to. You don't need to be greedy. There is a lot of greedy people, and I certainly aren't one of those people. As I said before, could I pay myself more? Oh yeah, I could, but I don't need to be greedy. I like seeing my business grow, and more money I've got in the business. Well, that's growth, isn't it? If I was taking more money out of there to just pay myself,
I just think it's a real story of what is possible to anybody, because you've started a business and you've already made it a 6-figure business in 1 year. And I think, to me, as someone who's never started a business, but I have the aspiration of doing it, it gives me hope. And I think for anybody listening who's scared of taking that first step, you're living proof that it can happen. And you're obviously still on that journey. You're still early in that journey, but you've had a lot of success early. And from what I understand from speaking to you off camera, the business is growing at a really rapid rate, and you're moving into a new premises, I understand.
Yeah.
Because this one's become too small. And I just think it's a... I mean, I'm not saying everyone go start a fucking business, but do you know what I mean? It's a great story of what's possible to people. If you think, attach yourself to something you're passionate about, have specific knowledge, work hard, take the advantage of opportunities.
Mm-hmm. Well, it went from in the house to the garage, and then to a lockup, and then speaking to my accountant, and then she recommended a place here, so moved in here. And then I thought, well, let's give it a little bit here first, and then let's go into a bigger premises. I outgrown where I am now in the first 3 weeks. I was like, oh, I need a new place, but I don't want to jump straight into a bigger place. Let me give more of a time here. Let me see where I'm at, and bosh, I can move into new premises.
I think you're playing it very smart, man. Like you're taking the small steps of growth. You're reinvesting your money back into the business.
Yeah.
Do you think your sort of former colleagues or even family members would ever think that you would be having the success you're having now?
You know, speaking to some of the boys in my previous job, see them every now and then, or in the local shops and that, and they're just like, "You are absolutely landed."
Yeah.
But
are they are they surprised?
Surprised?
Yeah. Or did they think
they're not jealous?
Yeah.
Or they're probably just like, how the hell does a bod leave the army and he's literally able to leave the army?
What's a bod?
Private soldier.
Okay.
Not many private soldiers leave the army and start a company. There's only one other person that I know, and his name's Ryan. He owns it's Ryan Small. He owns Small Solutions. So basically, he'll go to companies will rent him or ask him to come down to train everyone on lorry licenses, forklift license. He's got every license under the sun with first aid, everything. So he's landed. He's more landed than myself. Landed. So, people are giving him a hard time. And then now those people that were giving him a hard time are going, "Oh, can I have a job?" "Oh, do one then, mate. Do one." So looking at him leaving, and then looking at me leaving, we were both bods, privates, and look how successful we've made it.
It's possible for anyone.
Yeah, of course it is.
Yeah.
As I said, you just need to know your business, or should I say what you're going into. I know I said about the inflatables that I didn't know much about that, but I was willing to learn for that. But if you're proper passionate about your business that you want to go into, i.e. mine, you're gonna have to have some kind of level of brains about it.
I think it's important to bring this up, Jace, because this whole podcast has been a bit of a facade. This is actually just a sales pitch because we've been looking for a sponsorship.
Shit, I knew that.
No, I'm joking, man. No, I think, for the viewer, I think your story, listen, from my perspective, as someone who aspires to achieve something like you've achieved, I think there's a lot of snippets in what you've said in that I guarantee that whoever's listening and it dreams of doing something you've done, look for the opportunity, the everyday opportunities that you used. You don't have to be in the army to do that. And even if you are in the army, maybe fucking start a tuck shop. Jason's tuck shop, follow it on. I don't know, but you know what I mean. It's just there's opportunity for everyone, isn't there?
Oh, there is so many. You just need, as I said, I feel like a parrot. You just need to know what you're going into.
Yeah.
What's stopping someone, right, taking a little loan out of say $1,000 or $2,000 and starting an ice cream van, starting a burger van? You don't need big money to do that. Put yourself in the right location and bosh. It's not hard. I could probably name probably 10 off the bat of companies or little businesses you can go into. They're not multi-millionaire companies that you can start, but it's definitely something you can go into. You start with one, that could be a chain, or we can set up on another location. We can do this, we can do that.
Yeah, and it builds momentum, doesn't it? But I think people these days with the likes of Instagram, social media, they want the big house now. They want the big company now. Do you know what I mean? They want everything now. And when they think about how do I start a multi-million-pound business, it probably becomes overwhelming. But as you said, if you broke it down to something as simple as an ice cream van, that's a starting point.
Yeah, but all these people on Instagram that are like that, or the internet, they've had a massive cash injection, or their mum and dad has helped them. That's not, I'm not saying all of them are like that, but certainly a big some of them are like that. You know, you only get a small fraction are genuine.
Yeah, I think you got to take what you see on Instagram with a pinch of salt, because you just never know the whole story, do you?
Well, yeah, you can take it as a pinch of salt, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah, because you don't know people's stories, do you? That's my
No.
point. You can make assumptions or judgments, but at the root core, you don't actually know how someone's achieved that success. And
No,
also you don't actually know if someone is successful. They're just showing you what they want you to see.
Yeah, that's also true.
That's
There's a
the
lot of
point,
people
man.
that appear to be making money
Yeah.
that actually they're probably not.
Yeah, it's you know, like with mine, you know, my mum never give me a few grand to start the business. No business loan, no this, and that. I've literally grown it from bottom up.
Yeah.
You know, by saving my money while I was in the army, and it's given me a company.
But that's one of the reasons we wanted you on the podcast, to show people, not that there's anything wrong with parents helping you out or someone investing in you, nothing wrong with that, but it's to inspire the people that are at the very bottom and building it from the ground up, and you're an example of someone who's done that, and therefore it gives them the self-belief then that perhaps they could start up something.
Yeah, and you know, he's talking about people giving a false perspective, like, you know, because I remember Mike, when we first started the podcast, he used to go around our university library, logging into computers and racking up views on YouTube for the podcast. So,
oh wow,
you know, this is what people do, man.
I thought you were going to bring up the Hinge one.
No, not the Hinge one, but Michael was trying to build up views for our YouTube, probably trying to make fake YouTube accounts as well to create subscribers. And that's why I'm telling you guys, don't always believe what they're showing you. I obviously wouldn't do that. Michael is a different kettle of fish. All jokes aside, Jace, I think it's been a real pleasure to have you on today, man. And I appreciate you sharing your story, because I think it could give any soldiers, anyone really, who's in a position where they may be looking to, I don't know, create something more in their life, whatever that might be. You show us possible, man. So thank you for sharing your story with us. I really appreciate it, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Thank you.